B'siyata d'shemaya, we continue our journey to the fabulous Sefer Shemiras Shabbos Kol Chasai, and we're going to continue with Perek Yud Beis, page Kufnan Beis, Shtifat Kelim v'Niko Yashochem b'Shabbat u'B'Yom Tov, washing kelim and cleaning a table on Shabbos and Yom Tov. And what's going to happen over here? We're going to have a conversion. Unclear if that's the right word. No, we're not converting. We're going to have multiple topics that converge in one area over here. Just to, before we even read inside, when we talk about washing kelim, we're going to have to talk about what type of water to use, what type of sponge to use, and whether you're going to be using that utensil the same day. So we're going to have halachas of Hachanah, halachas of schita, halachas of bishul, and even halachas of bayrer, believe it or not. So we begin with part A, which the Shemiras Shabbos labels Hashatifa, the washing of the utensils. This is a little bit of a lengthier chapter, but b'siyat d'shmaya, we'll do what we could do. Siv Aleph, Kli Oichel, food utensils. Kigoin, for example, salachot eskumim v'shenislach lechu, plates and cutlery that became dirty. Aser l'shoitfam, you are not allowed to wash them. Bein b'Shabbos, bein b'Yom Tov. Don't get nervous. Ella imkein, unless after she is zakuk lem shinis b'Yisayim, you might use them for the same day. Be attentive, as always, to the incredible diktuk and precision of the Heiliger of Neubert. The words he just said were extremely important, and the unassuming eye might have missed them. He said, "Efshar, you might use them," and he continues, "Im zois," very good. Ein tzoyrech la'aroich cheshbonot, and in case you missed it, he continues by telling you, with this, you do not need to make calculations. Lekama kelim mikol min yitzarich oid boy b'yoim. Okay, I need 4 more plates. I need 3 more cups. Okay, so I wash 4 plates and 3 cups. Umoter lishtoif afilu kelim rabim. Meisamim gamim inoy tzarich ella leechad mehem. So the case is Friday night, you finish the Suda, and you have a sink full of dishes. So being a good spouse, you want to do the dishes. But then you think, 1 second, tomorrow all I'm having is me and my wife. The kids are away, or one doesn't have children, or whatever the case is. Put yourself into the story however you would like. And you know that you're only going to be using 2 dishes. So what are you allowed to do? So first of all, some people respond, why using dishes? Just use plastic. So what's the answer? Because you care about God. Kavod Shabbos, obviously. And if you don't care about God, what's the answer? You still should use it. Why? Why? Because you care about yourself. Why should you use it if you care about yourself? You want nachal lo b'li mitzarim? Nachal lo b'li mitzarim?
There's no obviously argument shita.
No, absolutely not. No, first of all, it's a massive machlokes. It's not like Kuli Alma. And nachal lo b'li mitzarim kol ma'anig is a Shabbos. Kol ma'anig is Shabbos. You're ma'anig, you're mechabed Shabbos, whether it's afka eining, whether it's afka kavod. What happens if they argue with each other? Not a sugya for now. But definitely, I don't know. If someone tells you a suffix, you might get a nachal lo b'li mitzarim. You know what? The 20 minutes of difficulty, I'm gonna choose. Okay, and then when you're not wealthy, you could come back crying, and then you could listen to, we'll talk about the Meiser and other ways of getting wealthy because your Kavod Shabbos is not enough for you. But let's continue. That was just a minor outburst from the naysayers in the crowd. But let's continue. Says the Shemiras Shabbos. Says the Shemiras Shabbos that. I'm sorry if I got everyone confused. We're not talking about plastics right now. It's a different discussion. Everyone could consult with their personal shalom bayis counselor and figure out how to deal with the plastics of your life. For today, we're discussing washing the dishes. The Shemiras Shabbos just told us you're allowed to wash all the dishes, even if you only need one of them. Lefikach, mutar adam l'shtav kelim gabel Shabbos. Allowed to wash your dishes Friday night, but shalech l'hem b'sudach eretz b'yis Shabbos. To have another meal on that Shabbos, he's just answering a common misconception. What do you mean you can't wash Friday night for Shabbos day? Why not? No, you're preparing for when? For Shabbos, right? It's mutar. So you're allowed to wash even Friday night for Shabbos day. Aval hakelim sheshamrim b'sudas shlishis. After you see how machmer some Zalman was, by the way. Be careful. He's using dishes for Shal Shidduchos. Yeah. Okay. Al yish. Toif, don't wash them. Your response should have been, so to use dishes for Shal Shidduchos? Okay, say it. The shul hasn't bought dishes. We have Shal Shidduchos in shul. We'll have to raise money for dishes for Shal Shidduchos. Al yish, I haven't eaten Shal Shidduchos in 2 years. Al yish toif. Gam in bedayt l'sham shem l'machros hayoyim shuchag. Even if you're going to use it tomorrow for Yontif, oy b'Yontif sheni shal Rosh Hashanah, oy shal Golias, you're not allowed to wash. Elo, yishtatfeim achrei seis l'kechavim, you have to wait till after When it comes to cups, Mikiva. Now again, let's be precise in his words. Mikivan sheyitochein sheyishta ben moed b'asiyim. It's common, probable, however you want to translate yitochen. Gam shaloi b'shas asuda v'chet slachot plates hamshamesh lachilus perus mamtekim uchadayme. Mayor, he served Shabbos party on dishes. Hayol ve'in zaman kavua l'shimash bahem. Since there's no Zaman Kvua, Raya, that Shabbos party is always on Shabbos. Since there's no Zaman Kvua, when are you going to serve? I know, he also said Paris. I know. There's no Zaman Kvua, when are you going to serve it? Motor Livshain Isa Tamid. You'll have to wash them right away. Ve'ein Shtifasan Asura. Ella Imkain Barur. Unless it's a Barur. Shalai Yishtam Yishem Baisayim. Unless you're for sure not going to use it. Kigoin. This last oid is a little bit of a killer. You're leaving the house. You're leaving the house after the meal. You're going to mommy, daddy, friends, neighbors, relatives. So why are you washing the dishes? No, but all the buts end on deaf ears if you're leaving the house. We have to see some of the footnotes. Oh, good question. Classical question of all malachas. I don't know if he's going to talk about it over here. We have to discuss about haram. We want to know haram. Can you make it up? Let's get there. We'll get there. Siv B's. I want to learn Siv B's. Then we're going to go back to some footnotes. Siv B's. Kalim shenislachu. You have dirty kalim. So now, again, the quick review of Siv Aleph was, when are you allowed to wash dishes? If you might use some of them. You're allowed to wash all of them. Careful. He did not say if you're going to use one fork, you could wash a cup. He said each item, if you might use that item, you can wash as many as you want. When is it also? When you borrow, will not use them, which by the way gives you a klal in the world of Hachanah, and it's called Safik Hachanah is mutter. Because Safik Hachanah, if you just think about it, can't be aser. The word Hachanah means I'm preparing for after Shabbos. If I might use it on Shabbos, I didn't prepare for after Shabbos. I prepared for maybe using it on Shabbos, maybe after Shabbos. Zok the Rebbe, that is mutter, that comes from Mishnah Berurah, which we'll see in a few moments. Sifis. You have dirty kelim and you're worried about charakim or a charakim. We're going to get back. We have to do basic gimel first. I said first we can do basic gimel, then we're going to go back. And not ants, charakim are insects. They sound better as charakim. Just again, let's listen to this example. He didn't say that emotionally it bothers you that you're. So, then you surely should. Even though his dishes are full of insects, he's still washing them. And our dishes, which are clean. Oh, what I was going to say is just be careful. Everyone reads this as, So he just said that if I'm worried that my dirty dishes are going to cause no, he said insects. He said that they're teeming, I believe is the word. But don't worry, let's not be so violent. He's about to be more mekel. A silver keli is going to get ruined. Unless you remove the food. Mutter, soaking in water, even if you're not going to use it. Sif B. Sif Gimel. This is a big one. After you empty out the kli, after you clear off the dishes, after you empty out everything to the garbage, you're worried that the sheiris, the leftovers, the refuse is going to stick. As Shabbat. And it's going to make it worse. Everyone, 100%. Let's listen to the words. It's going to make it worse on Motzei Shabbos. Why? Ki harei shri'azu comes for what reason? Ba'orak limnoya shinoi b'matzav hakayam. This rinsing comes to prevent a shinoi in what it is. V'ulam, however, if it's already stuck onto the walls, you already waited 5 minutes before cleaning up, and the cholent's already stuck. And it's dry. Also, why? Why are you doing it? You're making it easier. So that's a very fascinating heter gimel. And let's slow. First we read the top, then we read the bottom, then we make up our own dinim. So one thing at a time. This choice is soak or rinse. Either one. He's not. Shriya usually means soaking it. That's usually what the word shriya. Shtifa means rinsing. Shriya means soaking. If there's a reason that he's being machalik, it could be. He's in a moment going to reference to Ramesha that is malas such as tzad, but let's get there. Okay, so Aleph is innocent until proven guilty. Beis is insects and rooting your kelim. And Gimel is maintaining status quo. If you could do something now, which I'll say it the way he says it, then we'll see the way he says it in the footnote. If you're maintaining it now, that right now you can rinse it off, which later you cannot, then you're allowed to do it now. Says the notes. Let's begin. 100%. 100%. I agree with you 1,000,000%. Sif Katan Aleph in the footnote. Mutter Lishtayf, he says over here, what's the marmakaim that it's also if you're not going to use a Shabbos? It's mutter Lishtayf ilu mishkelim acherim lachamiyam, which is of course what came out of Sif Aleph. Even if you have other kelim, says Rav Menashe Klein, you still let her wash them. Ra, you should look in the Rafak. Va'ayin ayin, which we know is va'ayin oid, which is a kasha. Look at the Hiligun Vardik Rav and the Micha Shabbos. Who's Micha Shabbos? Rabbi Kiffel was Micha Shabbos. Same verse as the Torah Shabbos, which we're going to quote in a moment. The Aruch HaShulchan is machmir, which is important to know. You know, it's mutter. Shem Zalman is mekel. He just quoted you a Shulchan Aruch, that's mekel. He's about to quote us Mishnah Berurah, that's mekel. But you should know there's an Aruch HaShulchan. The reason why I say we should note that Aruch HaShulchan. Ein nachin lahadichan. Unless it sounds, if you have other dishes. If you have other dishes. That's what it sounds like he's talking about. Lahadicha means to wash them. In Beis, he continues, and he says, Yantav Shchali is B'Erev Shabbos Kodesh. Motalishal Akil and Tzarech Suda Shabbos. Neidi B'Yehuda. Machlekes HaPaiskim, we're not going to read this, but he just quotes over here the famous Machlekes, whether you need an Erev Tavshilin to prepare from Yantiv to Shabbos. There's three shitas. Shita number one is you need an Erev Tavshilin to prepare for Yantiv Shabbos, non-food. Shita two is you're allowed to prepare from Yantiv Shabbos non-food even without an Erev Tavshilin. And Shita three is even with an Erev Tavshilin it doesn't work. Lemaisa, his psak over here, and the conventional psak is we make an Erev Tavshilin and then we're able to do even non-food Hachanahs. That is Sif Beis. You can look in there and understand what's going on. In Sif Dalet, he explains the lumdis. What's this lumdis of innocent to proving guilty? He says, look at the Mishnah Berurah. Vahatam, we're 5 lines to the bottom. Each and every one is roi. Hotru kulam. To explain it in simple English, each one you're washing, and I want to speak this out for a reason, you might use that one. So in every plate, is that a chana? No, I might use it. What do you have to be careful with? You have to be careful with that if you do the tag team move, one washes, one sets the table. When you're halfway finished washing the dishes and the table's set, and then when you continue, you finish washing and put them in the cabinet, that's ulcer. Because that's not called I might use it, that's called I cleaned up and I put it away. Maybe you'll have the other heter that we'll get to in a minute, but that is ulcer. And we continue over here in Sivkot and Vav. He quotes, this is Lav Dafka Kaisis, of course, in Kavalishtia. The Vard is any item that you might use, you're allowed to wash. We'll finish with Sivkot and Ches, in which he spoke about either insects or a concern that your items might break. He says, Vachein, he quotes a Shulchan Shleimai, which expands this a little bit. And someone's coming to visit you, and you're embarrassed. The dirty kelim, so he gives in to 2 cases. In the next in Sivkat Test, he explains that why are the bugs mutter? It's called a tzarech hayom. He says, Ksak Sarachin from Taf Ben Dal, Mishnah Berurah Ayin Sham. Now, this Marshag is the final heter, which was Sif Gimel, which is if you're maintaining the status quo. He quotes the Marshag. There might be a fine nuance in the Marshag, and if you're ever going to want to apply the Marshag, we have to see what the precise nuance is. The Chol Davar. Shem lo yasa isa b'Shabbos. 4 lines into the notes. Anything that if you don't do on Shabbos, shuv lo yiyav shari. There's no possibility la asoy b'chol. Lo b'chol chanish asu chazal. I love this. Hachanah means you're preparing. But if now is the only time, I could rinse off my crack pot. Why? Because tonight it won't be a rinse. Tonight, it's going to be a full-blown wash. So therefore, he says, you could do the rinse now to make it easier, even though you're making it easier on Motzei Shabbos. And let's say all of the hope is lost. Is there anything else you could do? So in Ari Yud Aleph, he points out, if you don't have this heter, l'mashal, the crock pot already is dry, which often is the case unless you're thinking and you do it early. Great. But let's say you're not, and the chalon sat there for too long, and now it's dry, so now you don't have this heter. So what do? He says in Sifkat Yud Aleph, if you put it in the sink, you're allowed to wash your hands on top of them, and that way it will some level wash it. Which, when you ask, you're allowed to create a usage. This is the first level of usage he allows you to create. You're allowed to go and wash your hands over. Now, I don't think he means that you're allowed to put soap in your hands and spend 20 minutes washing your hands. I don't think so. Why don't, right? And as you're washing them, somehow move everything around the sink. And when you finish, you also swept up the floor. I don't think that's what he meant. But this is a very common case. I'll be honest. This is one that I frequent often. Whenever there's not a heter to the sink. So first of all, if your hands are dirty, I don't think it means, so you put a little soap in your hands, you wash your hands. You get a little soap in the thing, which always is a help, always is a start. I'll pick it up from here. B'siyata Dishmai.